Welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, the show by fans for fans of your Milwaukee Brewers.
All right, Brewer fans, welcome to the Brew Crew Review Podcast, our annual top 30 future Brewers list. Joining me today is Vince. Vince, how are things?
Things are great, Craig. It's like, well, officially the baseball season has started, and we are less than a week away from the Brewers opening day, which is pretty exciting. We're taping this on Friday, the 21st of March, and the Brewers open up, as you know, next Thursday against the Yankees in New York. So I am really, really pumped up and excited for the 2025 season, and can't believe that we're within a week of meaningful Brewers baseball.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I know our listeners probably already tuned into our last season prediction episode. So yeah, and I teased last time that our longtime minor league analyst Brandon would be on this episode. Unfortunately, because of other commitments, he wasn't able to make it. I did have a long conversation with him about what his thoughts are on some of the guys in the system, so I will interject with that as we go over our list, or really his list.
Maybe Scotty can fill in for Brandon today. Is he on?
Yeah, I think he's at work also right now, but yeah. So we do miss Scott, and our listeners do, of course, but hopefully we can make it back on the show at some time. Both those guys sometime soon. So I will also say here on a personal level, I know a lot of our fans, if you're able to check it out on the internet, they had for free last weekend. Last Sunday, the Brewers had their spring breakout game in Arizona against the Reds prospects, and yeah, but we did not win that game. I think it was 9-7 we lost, but it was pretty exciting to see a lot of the names that I'll be mentioning here on this top 30 list. They're part of it. I actually was lucky enough to be in Phoenix for the weekend and was able to check that game out in person. So I scouted this in particular, and I got to meet and get some autographs from some Brewers. It was pretty exciting. Meet, of course, Jesus Mate, Eric Patante, Brock Wilkin, Casey Hunt, Craig Yoho. So there was a host of people that I was able to meet for the first time, and Brett Wichrowski also, and yeah, a lot of the guys, Cooper Pratt and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So we'll go over this list.
Yeah, you had quite the haul down there, Craig. Your pictures, I know that Scotty's intern sent us and posted some of the pictures, but pretty exciting stuff. You had some great autographs.
Yeah, so it was a fun time, very casual, beautiful day. Obviously, I think it was snowing here in Wisconsin, as it was reported to me, but I was able to be down there.
Not your first spring break for Brew Crew Review on assignment.
No, but it was my first spring breakout, so I'm hoping to switch over to formerly loving spring break back in my 20s and such. But now here as an older 20s, man, 30s, I'm like spring 40s, breakout. 50s. Yeah. So no, this was exciting. Now, the one thing that takeaway talking with Brandon, I think our first top 30 future Brewers list, we started the show in 2004 on television in West Dallas, of course, the Brew Crew Review. And then in 2005, I think we came out with our first top 30 future Brewers list. And this was just prior to Ryan Braun being drafted in the 2005 draft. So I think the spring of that year, we came out with the first top 30 future Brewers list. And that was a very exciting list that already included Prince Fielder and Ricky Weeks at the top. Brad and I talked about this. That was a list literally 20 years ago to the day. And we're the most excited about the Brewers farm system as we are since the 2025 or 2005 list, I should say. So it's been 20 years, but the exciting thing is the Brewers already have a team that's a perennial playoff team, and here we are with a stacked system, in our opinion. The one difference is we were just about to add Ryan Braun to that farm system, whereas this list, we just took away Jackson Trio from last year's list, and he obviously, I think, is going to be a longtime franchise player. So that's the one difference, of course, but it's pretty exciting.
Well, and also the major difference, though, Craig, is that, we're a lot better team at the major league level than the Brewers were in 2004 or 5. I mean, it's so exciting to have a team that's made the playoffs every year since, 2018, with the exception of the 2022 season. And we've got this loaded system as well. So that's why I do think that there are reasons for the Brewers and the fans generally to be pretty optimistic going forward here.
Absolutely. So out of that 2005 top 30 future Brewers list, there were 6 pretty long time regular major leaguers that came out of that list, which is pretty good. And I think almost up to 10 people that were major leaguers at some point. That's a pretty good hit rate on your prospects and a great farm system back in there. Obviously, at the top of that old list was Prince Fielder and Ricky Weeks, who had great careers. Corey Hart, Nelson Cruz, so I think was it led the 2010 to 2020 decade, most home runs in the majors. So that's pretty good.
2010, 2020s are still going.
Oh yeah, 2010, the 2010s. JJ Hardy was on that list, obviously a longtime major leaguer. Giovanni Gallardo, some other fringe major leaguers, Carlos Villanueva, who's a current coach for the Brewers, and then Manny Parra, also one of Scott's old friends. Dana Evelyn had a cup of coffee or so with the Brewers also. Dave Krinzel, I know, was a short major leaguer. One of my favorites that didn't quite make it, Lou Palmazan, was on the list, but you get the idea. It was a pretty stacked list that basically produced.
You had the purple shirt. You interviewed him in the purple shirt, and the purple shirt was totally skewed and sweaty, and you were hungover from the night before, if I recall, and it was just like unbuttoned correctly.
Yeah, it was. It really was. I missed the buttons on that one. But Lou
classic Craig interview.
He was a professional, and he, yeah. So. But no, so the list back then, the top 30 was really chock full of future major leaguers. And we honestly feel that this new list that we're about to reveal to you potentially has a similar number of future longtime major leaguers on it. I honestly believe there could be 6 to 8 guys on this list that make the major leagues and have careers of upwards of 5+ years. And I think that's really a testament to how good this farm system is. Some of the rankings, most of the rankings of the farm systems right now for this year have us in the top 10. I believe we're top 5, if not top 2. But again, I think we're kind of being underrated a little bit. So if you haven't heard this list, you're going to be excited. But we're going to start with prospect number 30 and go all the way up to number 1, as we traditionally do. So let's get right at it. Number 30.
Hey, Craig, really quick, can we can post that list on our social media from 2005 and from this year, of course, as well. So I just wanted to remind our listeners that they can follow us at Brew Crew Review, one on Twitter, and send us emails at brewreviewpodcast with an s@gmail.com. But we will definitely post a list from both 2005 and 2025.
Okay, yeah, let's get our interns on that. Scott's interns. If you don't, yeah, so absolutely, we'll do that. So, all right, here we go though. So number 30 on the list is former first round pick shortstop Eric Brown Jr. Number 29, Yadhir Ranamo, second baseman. Number 28, right-handed pitcher Coleman Crowe, who came over from the Mets in the Tyrone Taylor deal. Number 27.
Is he going to be healthy this year? What's his projected timeline? Because I know that he was out with an injury, and there were some of our other fellow analysts who kind of said that we got a steal for him in terms of talent, but it was just the injury that made him available to us. What's his injury prognosis this season?
Yeah, he should be able to pitch in the minor leaguers at some point before late spring, is what I'm hearing. So they haven't determined what level he'll be at. My guess would be probably high A or double A. But yeah, so that hasn't been decided as far as I know. But yeah, he's definitely will be part of the minor league system here for the Brewers this year. So that's exciting. And like you said, I think that we were able to get him on an injury discount, so to speak. And he's got a higher ceiling for sure. I definitely see him as a number 4 or 5 starter if he could indeed make the major leagues. So the next 2 guys coming on our list was part of our really recent January international signing list. Both these guys, obviously from Latin America, one from Venezuela, one from the Dominican Republic. But these guys are exciting, and obviously the Brewers have had great success all the way going back to Jackson Churio and identifying guys in this signing period of time. So again, these are names to kind of put in your put in the back burner and kind of track as they make their way through the system. But let's go. Number 27 is outfielder Braylon Antunes. Again, 17-year-old who signed with us just in January. Number 26 is outfielder Kenny Pannellan, who's also a 17-year-old who signed with us. Again, those guys both have fairly high ceilings. Number 25 on this list was a January 2024 international signing, and that's Jose Anderson, an outfielder who we signed for only $60,000. He had a 2-run home run in spring breakout game. Again, I think he's exceeding expectations as of so far. Number 24 on the list, Luis Lara. Number 23, right-handed pitcher Josh Nath, supplemental complimentary pick last or 2 years ago. He did have Tommy John surgery last season, so he probably will miss most of 2025 because of that, unfortunately. Number 22, Mike Bovey, second baseman. Number 21, right-handed pitcher Casey Hunt, who again, late round pick, who's been doing really good in the minor leagues in his first couple years here in the league. And then, yeah, let's keep moving on with the list. Number 20, outfielder Yofri Rodriguez. Number 19, I'm going to call him first baseman Tyler Black, possibly member of the 2025 Brewers, hopefully. Number 18, right-handed pitcher Bishop Letson.
Hey, Craig, just as a quick reminder for our listeners, can you fill folks in on when guys come off this list? Because, people like Tyler Black, and I know there's others on this list as well, they've already, played in the big leagues with the Brewers. So how many at-bats, how many games do guys need to play in? How many games do pitchers need to pitch in? What are the kind of metrics that are used just so our listeners understand a little bit better when guys come off this list?
Oh, great question. Yeah. So typically most prospect lists are universally used. What Baseball America start off as their thresholds for passing, prospect status, and that's 130 at bats for hitters, and I believe 50 innings pitched for pitchers. And so Tyler Black, as of now, he only did have 49 official major league at bats with the Brewers. Last
played in
season,
18 games last year. I got his interns just handed me his stats. Yeah, it's 49 official at bats, 57 plate appearances, played in a total of 18 games last year.
Yeah, and so he's technically still a prospect, which obviously will graduate off this list at some point this year. All right, number 17 on the list, first baseman Blake Burke, out of the University of Tennessee. He actually won the College World Series with the Volunteers. Interesting enough, he's actually the third piece of the Corbin Burnes deal. The Brewers got a complimentary first round pick along with Joey Ortiz and DL Hall on that deal for Corbin Burnes. And with that pick, they selected in last year's draft first baseman Blake Burke, left-handed power hitting first baseman. So again, that's not typically the Brewers scouting department's favorite profile, but again, they've been focusing a little bit more on getting power into the system, and Blake Burke is a big country boy with a lot of power, and so that, again, he does have a good hit tool, so I really have high expectations for him as well. So
Blake Burke is pretty exciting too, Craig, because I don't follow you are too, but being a University of Wisconsin grad, unfortunately we don't have a baseball team, so I never I love college baseball, but I don't really follow it as closely as I probably would if if my undergrad college actually had a team. But I did watch the College World Series in 2024 because I had some friends who had kids on the Texas A&M team, and that's who Tennessee played that year. And I remember Blake Burke just kind of lighting it up in the World Series that year, and he was really fun to watch. So even though I'm not an expert on college baseball by any stretch, Blake Burke was definitely a guy and a name that stood out. So it was pretty cool when the Brewers picked him up because I just seen him play on TV down here.
Absolutely. And again, I think profile is most likely is only being able to play first base, but again, the Brewers have been cycling through random first basemen since Prince Fielder left that have been, I guess we affectionately call it from the bargain bin, but yeah. So no one has really had any longevity at that position since Prince Fielder left, really. So again, looking to possibly have someone lock up that position. I think Blake Burke is a perfect candidate for that. And not only that, but he shouldn't be in the minors for very long if he's able to hit. So, yeah, that's number 17 on the list. Number 16, we've got right-handed pitcher Bryce Message from last year's draft. Number 15 on the list, list. Right-handed pitcher Brett Wichrowski, who pitched well in the spring breakout game. Number 14 on the list, again, has already made his major league debut. Right-handed pitcher Carlos Rodriguez. For the Brewers, I think he's getting close to being on the depth chart where he's almost reaching the rotation at this point with all our injuries. But again, he's definitely an arm that should be a back end starter at the major league level going forward. Number 13, third baseman Luke Adams, and again, he was a big part of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers run all the way to the Midwest League Championship game last year, or the series. Unfortunately, they did lose in the final game, but he was a big part of that, and supposedly the nicest guy in the world. And I did get to meet him at the spring breakout. He signed autographs for all the kids, for everyone, stayed extra time. Like, really awesome dude. You can just tell all the way around. Great clubhouse guy. Everyone seems to love him. And he can hit and get on base. He's got a great walk rate. So I really think he's going to be a future major leaguer in some fashion. So all right, he was number 13. Number 12 on the list is Craig Yoho, who, again, people are saying he's got the 80 grade changeup that I think is affectionately called the thing. There's already been some articles written about how he came up with that pitch while, recovering from injuries since the pandemic. And we've seen it in spring training. He was just prior, I think just yesterday or so, sent down to minor league camp. So he won't start the year with the Brewers, but I really feel like he's going to be a long-time member of the Brewers bullpen going forward. So exciting prospect there. Number 12, Craig Yoho.
Where do you think, or when I should say, do you think Craig Yoho is going to make his big league debut? I'll just say this. We'll say over under April 15th. What are you going to take?
I'll take the over, but I do think it'll be sometime in May. Could be sooner. Again, he's ready now, in my opinion. He is 25 years old already. Again, he missed some time with injury after coming out of college, but he's been absolutely lights out in the minor league since he's returned from injury. He has an unhittable pitch, which, again, as someone who just lost Devin Williams as airbender, it's pretty exciting to know that this guy's going to be part of our bullpen going forward. Yeah, so I would say probably by May. Now, the Brewers, since he has options and will have them for several years, the Brewers do like to kind of cycle through their bullpen arms. And so it wouldn't surprise if he kind of yo-yos back and forth between AAA and the major leagues for at least 2025 before he fully establishes himself as a solid member of the pen. So, but yeah, definitely exciting to see him. In the meantime, I think he'll start the year at Nashville as their closer, and yeah, so everyone down in Nashville for the Sounds will get to experience him here for a little bit. But Brewer fans, like you said, it won't be too long before he's part of the major league team for sure. So, and again, he's number 12 on our list. I mean, he's, in my opinion, almost like a for sure major leaguer. So now you're going to start to see how good this farm system really is. Number 11 on our list, we've got potential number 5 opening days starting pitcher, and that would be Logan Henderson, who I also did get to see the pitch down in spring training. Unfortunately, did not pitch very well. But again, he's known for having good control and a nice changeup himself. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. Number 11, right-handed pitcher Logan Henderson. Now we're into our top 10. Now, for our top 10, Brandon and I did come up with comparable either current or former major league players to give our listeners some idea of and again, these are ceiling comps, which means if they absolutely rank at the major league level, this is most likely the type of player they profile as with their skill set. And again, the likelihood of reaching the ceiling is, as prospects, still not that high. So don't get super excited about these comps. But it does give you some ideas what type of player we're talking about. So number 10 on the list.
Craig, just to verify for our listeners, you got these comps and some of these ideas from our anonymous source, Tom Carter, right? Because I know that you guys went over a lot of stuff before our show and our pre-production meeting.
Yeah, TC like to contribute too, and again, he was really helpful in helping with these comps too. Again, but he said we didn't have to mention him or anything like that. But yeah, he's always a go-to source, anonymous source at that. So thank you, Tom C, for we always appreciate Mr. Carter and what he can give to us. So
yep.
Number 10, it's looking like he'll make the opening day roster. Whether or not he's a starter or not is in question, but it's number 10 on the list is Caleb Durbin, second base / third base. here for the Milwaukee Brewers, utility player, possible starter. Got him, of course, in the Devin Williams trade with the Yankees. His comp here is going to be Chuck Knobloch. So again, in his prime, probably 15 to 20 home run power. He is known for stealing bases. Hopefully, he doesn't have the same yips on in defense as Chuck
I'm gonna say,
Knobloch.
can he throw a ball from second base to first?
Yeah, no. So that part of the profile is not good. But no,
also, I'd really like it if Caleb could refrain from beating his wife, because that was also Chuck Knobloch.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But one thing I will say, seeing him in person, the one thing that some scouting departments shy away from is shorter players, but that is not the case with the Milwaukee Brewers. Obviously, we see our former first round pick, Sal Frelick, is 5'8" generously. Caleb Durbin is, I would have to speculate, 5'6". In fact, I'm pretty sure once he makes a major leagues career, he might be the second shortest player besides the pint-sized hit machine of Jose Altuve, of course, down from your neck of the woods. So he's a very short player, but he's compact, has power, in my opinion, just like Altuve. Has tons of speed, knows how to get on base. Because of his size, he has a very minute strike zone, so to speak. And so coupling that with a great batting eye, I really think his on-base percentage will always be really solid. Excited to see him. He's struggled a little bit and was injured a little bit through spring training. I think he's shown enough to make the team, and we'll see what happens from there as far as his role on the team. But for sure, major leaguer, in my opinion, Caleb Durbin going forward, an exciting, underrated type prospect that should contribute in some way to the 2025 Brewers. So exciting to see. All right, moving on.
For some reason, I thought you were not high on him, Craig, because of your reaction to the Devin Williams trade.
Well, yeah, because I was expecting Devin Williams is an elite closer, which are very, top three closer in all of baseball. And granted, he only had one more year of control left. With that being said, I thought you could at least bring back, a top 100 type prospect. Caleb Durbin, for example, was not even listed in the top Yankees top 30 prospects going into 2024. Now, obviously, he's an overachiever by every sense of the word. Had a great season in the minor leagues this year, had a great Arizona Fall League. I kind of take those stats with a grain of salt, as it's more of a hitters league and pitchers are trying out pitchers there and everything. But for the most part, he's really elevated his stock in the last year. But again, I expect us to get more of a blue chip prospect as part of that deal, but instead we wanted to get someone that help us right out, and Nestor Cortez and Durbin was kind of the added piece. So I was a little underwhelmed by the return, given the greatness of Devin Williams and the Airbender, of course. But with that being said, I'm still excited about him. Hopefully he becomes an everyday player instead of just a utility player, because I would not have wanted to trade Devin Williams for 1 year of Nestor Cortez and a utility player, but we shall see. So
yeah, fair enough. Not to relitigate that trade, but I would say that if we get a Chuck Knobloch, all personality traits aside and the yips aside, if we get a player of Chuck Knobloch's caliber for 1 year rental of Devin Williams, I'd be elated with that return.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Number 9 on our list is a prospect who really upped himself on this list from me personally seeing him down at the spring breakout game, and that's shortstop Luis Pena. He was signed in the same international class in January 2024 as Jesus Made, who's coming up here on the list. Made signed for $950,000. Luis Pena signed for $800,000. So the Brewers viewed them as similarly valued prospects at the time that they signed them. Brandon feels that Jesus Amade has been slightly overhyped. Not that he's not a great prospect, but he feels the opposite about Luis Pena, where he's been a little bit underhyped. And we actually moved him up on this list after our discussion by about five spots into the top 10.
Wow. That's huge.
And after seeing him in person, he has a great hit tool. He's got tons of speed. He's pretty solid defensively as a shortstop. The comp that Brandon and I came up with TC's help, was Ezekiel Tovar, the current shortstop of the Colorado Rockies. So again, a starting everyday shortstop is his ceiling, in my opinion, with a really good hit tool and some speed. And underrated at this point, but I think he's going to possibly move even higher on this list going into next year. So really like Luis Pena going forward. So number 8 on the list was last year's first round pick, outfielder Braylon Payne, who again was drafted actually from kind of the Houston area, was he not, Vince?
He was, yeah. He's from a high school about, I think it's about 15 minutes actually from where I live. And he's definitely hyped down here. He was actually signing autographs. He was one of the folks that was brought in to sign it. One of the bigger card shows in the country over the winter. And yeah, he's a local guy, definitely known in the local baseball scene. Definitely from all indications, he's a 5-tool guy. He's young, we drafted him right out of high school, but I think he's got the talent to raise himself even higher on this list over the next couple seasons.
Now the Brewers picked him in just past the middle of the first round in last year's draft, and a lot of people thought that was a little bit of a reach, but he did hit very well in his first season of pro ball, and I think his stock is on the way up. The comp we came up with, again, he fits that this current front office Brewers profile that they really like, which is athletic, toolsy outfielders that have a nice hit tool, but are really strong defensively. And so we gave him the Trent Grisham comp. Again, he could be a slightly different player.
Boo.
And again,
no, I think that's underrating him.
Yeah, and it could be, but that's a player, left-handed hitting outfielder with a pretty good defense, and so we'll see. Number 7 on the list is unfortunately someone who's going to be
He's
returning.
so young though, Craig. Too. I do think he's going to develop some power still, just for what it's worth. I know we're trying to get through this list, but from what I can tell and from what he was able to do in high school, he seems like a guy that can still add muscle. I think that he's a guy that is still young enough where he is absolutely still developing power. We're going to see that develop down the road.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt that. He's definitely got all the tools to start off with. Again, a lot of these guys drafted out of high school have a pretty like a 90 plus attrition rate where less than 10% of these guys actually make it as major leaguers. It's such a tough thing for every prospect to make it. But I mean, obviously, the first round, he's got a high ceiling and a bright future. It just may take a little while for you to see him in the Brewers uniform, but it'll be exciting to watch him as he develops through our system at each step of the way. I think the Brewers will not rush him, obviously, as a younger guy. But yeah, exciting part of our farm system for sure. And we've got him at number 8 on our list. Number 7, Robert Gasser. Again, we saw him at the major league level last year. He did get injured and had to go get surgery, and he should be coming back sometime this year. Maybe they're targeting like August-ish for a return for him. So hopefully we see him at the major league level this year. I guess I wouldn't count on it, but in my opinion, he's definitely a candidate to be a member of the 2026 Brewers rotation. For sure. So Robert Gasser, what I saw from him and the command that he had at the major league level was really impressive. We put a comp of current Phillies left-handed pitcher Christopher Sanchez as a comp on Robert Gasser, who was a kind of solid number 3 or number 4 type starter with really nice control. So that's what we're going with for the comp there. Number 6.
Yeah, I'm actually really high on Gasser, and I saw a report just yesterday from our colleague Adam McCalvey that he's close to throwing off a mound, which is actually a little ahead of schedule. I still think that August is probably realistic. There was some talk maybe because of his advanced timetable now, maybe even late July. So that'd be exciting if we can get him that quickly. But I think August, September, we're probably going to see Robert Gasser come and be an addition to the Brewers rotation down the stretch. So that'll be like that'll be a nice addition for the second half. Hopefully. And he's another Houston guy too, by the way. He went to the University of Houston.
Awesome. So we gotta give kudos to our scouts down that neck of the woods. But yeah,
I actually talked to him last year when he was down here, and we mentioned that.
Oh, cool! Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. All right, number 6 on the list. Our first round pick out of Wake Forest 2 years ago was one of the best power hitters coming out of college that draft, and that's third baseman Brock Wilken. Again, he knows how to get on base, has tremendous power. There are some hit tool questions, also some defensive questions. Brandon feels that he's most likely profiles as a future first baseman rather than a third baseman. But the comp that we're putting on him is someone that actually just signed with the Rangers or got traded to the Rangers this year, and that's Jake Berger. And so again, a big hulking, power hitting first base / third baseman. Yeah, so let's hope he can reach that ceiling because that's a heck of a player. So number 5 on the list, one of my personal favorites, and after seeing him at spring breakout, meeting him, getting his autograph, he's only increased his my interest in what he can bring to us, and that's Eric Batanti, third baseman / first baseman, also profiling, left-handed hitting hitter. I mean, we drafted him out of high school just 2 years ago in the 3rd round. I think people thought he was going to go higher than what he did. The Brewers got a great deal on him, I believe, where they picked him. Again, he's only 20 years old still. Had a nice season. Has a great idea of the strike zone. He's got a nice hit tool. Has tremendous power. We're putting a comp on him of the Braves' Matt Olson. Now, again, that's pretty heck of a player, but we do think he has that ceiling. Now, being only 20, he has a shorter floor, obviously, or a lower floor, and it's, his chance of becoming that player is not as great. But again, I'm really excited about the future. We think he can stick at third, both Brandon and I do, but otherwise, first base is a backup position for him. But he's definitely a corner infielder. And again, that's the first base, third base, as we see even going into this season, has not been something has been a strong point of the farm system for the Brewers in the last 5+ years. And I think they've focused in the last couple drafts on adding more power and focusing more on those instead of the toolsy outfielder, toolsy up the middle types, which obviously can always get changed to different positions. Focusing a little bit more on the corner infielders in the last couple drafts. And I think it'll pay off with this type of guy. I'm really high on Eric Batante myself, probably my favorite prospect in the top 10. So number 4, again, most people probably have him higher on their list. Right-handed pitcher, Jacob Mizrowski. The comp we've put on him already is, if you're listening to our show, is Tyler Glass now. Again, someone that has a little bit of control issue, but also has a pretty high ceiling of a number 2 starter or potentially a lockdown back of the bullpen type arm. This spring training has been very frustrating, and even in the spring breakout game, he's been giving up lots of walks, lots of hits, lots of runs. He's not a finished product yet. He's not major league ready, unfortunately. So he will start the year at Nashville, and we'll see what goes from there. Did not get to meet or get his autograph because he was pitching the spring breakout game, so they did not have him part of the pregame festivities for the fans. But anyway, like Batante, those are both really tall guys. Obviously, he's lanky. I think he's like 6'8" or 6'9", really tall guy. Again, it's all about control, and then at some point, once he gets that, even command. But I think he's a for sure major leaguer in my mind, almost outside of not being able to harness his control at all. Now, the one thing, my understanding is that
I can't imagine him not appearing in the major leagues within the next month or two. I mean, I absolutely think the Brewers need him to step up. I mean, no question about it. He's a major leaguer.
The thing I think about, if we wanted him in the bullpen, he'd be ready probably right now to help out. But
yeah,
it's my understanding that it's his wish, and the Brewers are kind of conceding or concurring. I shouldn't say not conceding, but concurring that he wants to. He's always been a starter. He wants to stay a starter for as long as possible before transitioning to the bullpen. He wants to figure it out as a starter. He's the most valuable to our team if he's a number 2 starter over a setup guy or closer, in my opinion. So I would say let him stay on that track, see if he can find the control he needs to become a really high-end starting pitcher. And so I think that's the route we'll go with him. Even if it delays his appearance in the major leagues by a couple of months or possibly half a season, I think it'd probably be worthwhile. And so that's, I guess, that's a track. Brandon, in particular, is really frustrated and has very many more concerns than I feel you have, Vince, and even more so than TC. He really feels that his control might be something that tanks his career at this point. And
it's an issue for sure. I mean, I get Brandon's concern, and I know we talked about this in the pre-production meeting, but I think that's fairly typical for tall left-handed pitchers who throw hard. I don't necessarily think he's unique. I think that the Brewers and their pitching lab have got a lot of tools that they can use to address this. He's still young. So, these are things that a pitcher can improve upon. You look at it, and I'm not trying to make this comparison, but you look at a guy like Randy Johnson, who obviously had major control problems. Also a very tall, 6'10" left-handed pitcher who threw very hard. I think that Mizorowski's body type is actually very similar to Randy Johnson's. So I don't think that's a deal breaker with Jacob Mizorowski. I think that he's a guy that's incredibly talented. I think his stuff is elite, and it's elite to the point where the Brewers are going to do everything that they possibly can to get him the help that he needs to get, through his control issues.
Yeah, and I mean,
and I will also say too, really quick, Craig, to your point about him becoming a starting pitcher. Yes, absolutely, that is the plan. I will say that sometimes necessity dictates the strategy. So I think that when the season unfolds and you're, a few weeks or a few months in, the Brewers may have massive holes in their bullpen because of injuries, because of guys getting hit. Maybe those holes are in the rotation. You just don't know what's going to happen in the course of a 162 game season. You can't plan for everything. You can just be prepared to make, adaptations and changes accordingly and have the depth to do that. So I think that the strategy might be to have him be a starting pitcher, but you may not necessarily see that strategy last throughout the entire season because he may need to come into the bullpen and fill a need.
Yeah, I mean, another thing to keep in mind, he's still a young guy that's going through growing pains. He's 22 years old. He did have 33 appearances last year between AA and AAA, 21 starts of those. So the majority of it before he got to AAA was starting. And I mean, his stuff is ridiculous. He struck out 127 batters in less than 100 innings. So you can see, but he also walked 60. So again, he's not going to get the walk rate down, and I think he'll be fine. So again, whether or not that happens, there's just been a lot of players in Major League Baseball history that have had a similar profile that have unfortunately have been sunk by the loss of or the complete lack of control or command. But again, he's still young enough, and I still feel that he's going to reach his ceiling. And I'm staying confident, and I'm glad we kept him here in the top 5. I had personally wanted him number 2 or 3, but again, I had to default to our other guys contributing to this list, and they really felt Brandon in particular that he should be moved down a little bit, and that expectations, especially for 2025, should be tempered a little bit. In his mind, if he's going to be a successful starter for the Brewers starting next year, he probably will spend the majority of the season having success at the AAA level, maybe helping us out in September or whatnot. So we shall see.
Where did Chad put him on the list? Because I know Chad was involved in these discussions as well. Chad had him at number 3, didn't he, or number 2?
Yeah, Chad did have him on at number 3. In fact, he had him ahead of Jefferson Cuero, who we've got at number 3. So that moves out of number 3, and of course our catcher. He's injured right now, was not able to take part of the spring breakout, so I wasn't able to get eyes on him or meet him. But defensive catcher with a nice hit tool. It's funny that Brandon wanted to throw out the comp of the other guy we have in camp that's kind of flamed out as a prospect, and that was Jorge Alfaro, who was a defensive catcher with the Marlins. That again, he still has a chance. He's young enough himself, but again, someone with a decent hit tool and really good defensively. In fact, his defense as a catcher is his ticket to the major leagues. Whether it's a backup or a starter long term, I really feel Jefferson Cuero will be a major leaguer in some capacity because of his already excellent defense as a catcher. So what role he plays for the Brewers, obviously ahead of him on the depth chart is Wilson Contreras as we speak right now. So whether or not that makes him a trade chip, a great backup catcher at some point, I don't know, but or the successor to Contreras, so we have to move on from him. So we shall see. But yeah, exciting guy to have in our system.
Craig? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you were done.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Do you think there's any chance that, I know Contreras is only signed for 2026 or 7? I got to double check. I'll have the interns check. But is there any chance in your mind that we have Cuero as our starting catcher with Contreras moving to first base maybe next season? Because Reese is a free agent after this year. Do you see a position switch for William Contreras?
I think he's the most valuable. His bat's the most valuable I still feel that he's a more than adequate catcher. And in fact, he's made great strides since he's left the Braves and come to the Brewers. He's made himself, in my opinion, into an all-star level defensive catcher. So To answer your
Yeah.
question, it's because of those strides that I would say that William Contreras should stay at catcher probably for at least the first like 10 years of his major league career. After that, if he moves to first base, if his hit tool is still that good, then that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, the Brewers, he is controlled by the Brewers through arbitration process and whatnot through 2020, 2017. So we still have him for 3 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, lots of options still, but to have an all-star catcher locked up for 3 more years is pretty still exciting. And again, Cuero is there for depth and for possibly trade chip or whatever you want to call it. But he again, Baseball America actually has him ranked as the #1 Brewers prospect. So, and a lot of other
Yeah, I
publications
saw
too.
that.
Yeah.
I saw that. So I'm wondering if, obviously catching is a taxing position. I mean, that'd be an incredible tandem to have if you had both Contreras and, Cuero both serving as catchers for the Brewers. Like, to me, that would be an incredible combination to have. So maybe we'll keep both guys in that position and just sort of rotate them in and out. I don't know.
Well, not only that, but even just if Carrera makes it to the major leagues before we move on from Contreras or have to trade him, just to even be an underling or whatever for a season or so as a backup would, not the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely exciting to have both those guys and the depth that this team has because of their great minor leagues is just pretty exciting. So that leads us up to #2, and there I will say there was some debate between our minor league analyst Brandon and myself about who should actually be #1 and we're going with #2. We're going with Cooper Pratt, shortstop. I thought he possibly should be #1 myself, just because of the fact that he might not have as high a ceiling as the guy that we do have at #1. But I feel like he's more. If I had to put money on either of these top two guys, on which guy will have a for sure major league career for multiple seasons, if not a whole decade, I would go with Cooper Pratt. You're seeing him here in spring training. The first spring training game I saw him on TV this year, he hit 3 doubles and 4 at-bats, I believe. He looked like he belonged already. He's barely 20 years old. Um, just, I mean, this guy can hit the comp that people put on him, and I think this is too high of a ceiling, but Gunnar Henderson, probably one of the top 5 players in the entire league right now. Again, I don't think Cooper Pratt's ceiling is that high. He'll probably be, more of a little bit a tier down from that, so to speak, but he's going to be a starting shortstop or third baseman at the major league level and very soon. I mean, I think he spends another year in the minors, and I really feel like he's going to be possibly everyday player as of 2026. He's that good. Really excited about Cooper Pratt. I think he's got right-handed hitting third base slash shortstop. Many people think he can stay at shortstop defensively, which makes his value even higher. I think his bat will play at either position, and super excited to have Cooper Pratt as our #2 prospect on our top 30 feature Brewers list. So that leaves us
Yeah.
with our #1 prospect, and again, someone that's got his arrow pointing up, very high ceiling, probably one of the most hyped out of nowhere prospects in all of baseball this year, and that's Jesus Mate, shortstop slash third baseman that has been playing. He signed in January 2024, as I already mentioned, for just under $1 million and absolutely raked in the Dominican League last year. Now, a lot of people have give pause to rank these guys in that league because a lot of them put up pretty phenomenal numbers, very high. But things have changed now with analytics and with his exit velocity on his plate discipline combined with his exit velocities coming out of his bat, they have him really, really ranked as a high ceiling. I mean, a comparable player with the stats at the Dominican League level. And again, not to get fans overly excited because this is like ridiculous, but Juan Soto type plate discipline and hit tool from a potential infielder is pretty exciting. He is a switch hitting infielder, Jesus Mate. He's a little bit on the shorter side, but he can rake, he can fly, he's got plenty of speed plus power in the future. Again, he just turned 18, I believe. It was 17 all of last season. He will start this year at full season ball. I'm hearing so. we shall see. He's probably still many years away, probably 2 to 3 years away from reaching the majors. With that being said, very high ceiling. The comp that we're putting on him and is actually Ketel Marte. We kind of feel that his ultimate home might be second base. He profiles on the left side of the infield, but we think he's potentially a future second baseman. And Ketel Marte as a switch hitting second base starting all-star player last year for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who had 30 plus homers and hit near 300 with good on-base skills. And that's what we feel is Jesus Marte's ceiling. Not necessarily Juan Soto, but Ketel Marte. That's pretty good and pretty exciting.
So why is Brandon a little bit down on Jesus Mate or thinks that he's being overrated?
Well, no, actually, it's the opposite. He wanted Jesus Mate for sure, number one. I wanted to put Mate two because of his distance from the major leagues. I wanted Pratt number
Oh,
one.
I thought when you were talking about Pena, you were saying that he thought that Pena was being a little underrated and that Mate was being a little overrated.
Well, no, it's just the take is just the hype train on Mate is a little bit out of control at this point. Like I said, he's one of the most hyped younger prospects in all of baseball, and so there comes with a little bit of overratedness. Like Baseball America has him ranked number 17 overall, which is super high for someone who had just turned 18, and hasn't even had an at bat in the States yet, basically. So. In fact, his first
when
at
you got
bat,
his autograph, Craig, a couple days ago, the text that you sent to me with the picture of the item that you got signed, the licit 8x10, it was got the Holy Grail. I mean, that's a pretty big phrase.
Yeah. So and that was a little bit of a play on, that was a little bit of play on his first name, obviously, but it would be a sought after item, not too many people. Like I said, he hasn't been in the United States for very long. In fact, his first at bat at the spring breakout game, I think might have been his first official at bat on U.S. soil, as far as and not that the spring breakout is even official necessarily, but he didn't play. He wasn't in the Brewers camp at all. Again, it's a showcase game, but yeah, definitely exciting player, really high ceiling. Again, I don't want people to think, oh, this guy is Juan Soto or Jackson Chourio for sure. But that being said, he's probably has a very good chance to become a solid major league player with an all-star level ceiling because of what he's shown so far. So we'll see what happens. So I don't disagree with him being ranked number one overall. I do think Cooper Pratt, if I had to put money, is more of a sure thing, so to speak. But I think that, it's an exciting time to be a Brewer fan and to be part of this minor league system. Like I said, it's, in my opinion, top to bottom, or the top 30 is the strongest it's been since 2005 for our system, in my opinion.
Pretty exciting. Also, I think this is the first year since 2005 that we haven't seen Edbert Perez or Corey Ray on this list.
Yeah, exactly. So again, making the major leagues is no easy chore. There's tons of competition, not only in front of you, on the side of you, and also coming up behind you. It's one of the most difficult things to do. There's only so many major league jobs, as we're seeing here from guys making in spring training. There's always veterans hanging around, taking spots and looking for spots and all this stuff. So for a young guy to make the major leagues, it's quite the accomplishment. It's not like everyone gets to graduate high school. You have to earn this. And not like graduating high school is not something you have to earn either, but the competition to do so, to make the major leagues and be one of the, 26 players on each roster times 30, less than 1,000 guys. Basically each year have this job, and it's a difficult thing. And so it's exciting to me. I feel like the 2005 list, there's probably at least 6 to 8 future major leaguers on this list. I'm fairly confident of that.
Well, let's just put it this way, Craig. Since the major league started in the 1800s, and this includes the Negro Leagues, this includes the Federal League and others, there have been 23,373 major league players. That's not a ton of people.
No, absolutely. So, and
so making the major leagues is quite the accomplishment, is my point.
Absolutely. And actually, even just as much of an accomplishment is becoming a future Milwaukee Brewer, because just over 1,000 people have ever become a Milwaukee Brewer, and that's a pretty exciting thing.
Yes, it is. We are officially, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because we are heading into opening day next week. We are at 1,021 all-time Milwaukee Brewers. That does not count guys that only played for the Seattle Pilots, but not the team in Milwaukee. So this is specifically the Milwaukee Brewers 1970 through 2024.
Excellent. And I'm sure there'll be some more. There seems to be about 10 more guys added to the list, if not 20 each year now, which is much different than how things used to
No,
be.
man, it's during the David Stearns, Matt Arnold era Brewers. It's even more than that. It's kind of crazy. I've got the stats. In 2023, there were 35 new guys.
That's
In
just ridiculous.
2024, yeah, in 2024 there was 32. So
I want to say that there weren't even
Brewer Hicklin.
35 new Brewers in one season. That's ridiculous. I mean, I don't even think that there were more than like 25 to 30 total guys, Brewers that played at all. Like about 20, in the 1990s, there would be maybe like 30 total Brewers that even saw the roster at all, like let alone new
Well,
one.
last year, and I'll do. So here's my 30 list. I'll just do it really quick. I'll just read names. There was 32 guys that made their Brewers debut in 2024. Jackson Churio, Reese Hoskins, Jake Bowers, Gary Sanchez, Joey Ortiz, DL Hall, Oliver Dunn, Brian Hudson, Jacob Eunice, Joe Ross, Jared Koenig, Tobias Myers, Tyler Black, Kevin Herget, Robert Gasser, Mitch White, Chris Roller, Enoli Paredes, James Meeker, Eliezer Hernandez, Carlos Rodriguez, Bradley Blaylock, Dallas Keuchel, Rob Zaskrinsky, Eric Haas, Vinny Capra, Aaron Savali, Frankie Montaz, let's see, Isaac Collins, Brewer Hicklin, and I'm missing one name. Hold on. Sorry. Got a staple up there. Oh, Tyler Black.
Wow. Well, I mean, as much as I love the current regime, I'm sure you might not be as big of a fan since they're making it pretty tough on your autographed projects.
They really are. They really are. It's tough keeping up. I think I mentioned on one of our last podcasts, I just got a card back from Bradley Blaylock from Rockies spring training. He played in a grand total of one game last year for the Brewers. And so I was, still having to go get that from my collection.
Nice. And yeah, I'm hearing he might actually be the Rockies' number 5 starter going into this year. So we shall see. But yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Major League debut with the Brewers and gone forever. But yeah, interesting. But no, you've got your work cut out for you, and this regime will not make it any easier on you, especially how they cycle through bullpen arms and what have you. But yeah.
Yeah.
And
part of the fun challenge, Craig. Part of the fun challenge. I do enjoy it for that reason as well. So yeah, it should be interesting. I'll ask you, who do you think is going to be the first new Brewer on that list, 2025?
Okay,
meaning who appears in the game first?
To actually appear in the game first.
Well, yeah, because that's when they get added officially. They got to appear in a game. So you're not just on the roster. Like some guys were phantom Brewers. Trying to think of a good example. Who was that? The pitching prospect we had a couple years ago, a bigger guy. What the heck is his name? I'm drawing a blank, but there have been guys that were phantom Brewers that got called up but never actually appeared in a game before. Cody Scarpetta was one. He got called up, never appeared in a game, so he's not on the all-time roster.
Oh wow, that's too bad.
Yep.
But I guess to answer your question,
he's that too. Yeah.
Answer my question. I've heard that Carlos Rondon is the opening day starter for the Yankees. It's already been announced against Freddie Peralta, so I'm guessing we might go. We might actually go with Caleb Durbin starting over Oliver Dunn for that game, being righty instead of lefty. So I'll go with Caleb Durbin as the first person you'd have to add.
Yeah, that's a pretty reasonable guess. Obviously, yeah, we're not going to see Nasty Nestor until game 2. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think that actually is a very good guess. It could also be a bullpen arm too. I'm not convinced it won't be a bullpen arm. It could be a random.
They haven't finalized who's all going to be in the bullpen, but yeah, it'll be interesting. So yeah, you'll have your work cut out for you, definitely. So,
for sure.
But okay, yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully, you're excited about this farm system as Brandon and I and Vince are here. And yeah, so definitely, if you haven't checked out, if it's still an option to check out at least the highlights of on the web, the highlights of the Brewers spring breakout game. You'll see some at bats from our number 1 prospect, Jesus Mate. Luis Pena had some nice at bats, and also Jose Anderson, who was on this list too, as well as a lot of these other guys got the pitch. I know, like I mentioned, Brett Wachowski, our number 15 top 30 future Brewer on this list, also pitched, I think, an inning or two fairly well. So yeah, a lot of good names on this list, and hopefully future Brewers. So. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone tuning in to listen to today's show, and hopefully we'll have some actual major league box scores to bring, and actual data to bring you on our next episode. I'm hoping, unless we have another one before that point. But yeah,
absolutely, Craig. Happy opening day week. Or go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say less than a week away from opening day as of this taping. So.
Yeah, and I will be coming up for opening day, Craig. So I hope to see you in the parking lots or somewhere around the ballpark. So very excited about that. Brew Review will be on the scene for the Brewers homestand.
Very exciting, yeah. So come on out and celebrate with us. Opening day is March 31st at American Family Field, but we do open it up at Yankee Stadium on, was it March 27th? Whatever this coming Thursday.
Yeah, and hey, if any fans are actually listening to, Thursday the 27th. If any fans are actually listening to this before opening day and do want to join us in the parking lot, feel free to send a message to our Twitter account or to our email. Be happy to tell you where we're located that day. Be great to have a beer with y'all.
Absolutely. All right. Yep. Well, stay classy, Wisconsin, and go Brewers.
Thanks, everybody. Go Brewers. Happy opening day 2025.